Now, talking about a city that Markian just mentioned, Mariupol, he called it the new Aleppo. He was referring to Syria, a city that was historic, that has been reduced to absolute rubble as a result of the war in that country. Bruised, battered, besieged, yet defiant, Mariupol continues to put up a small bit of resistance against Russian troops, overwhelming force, even as invaders have entered into the heart of this port city. The question remains, is the fall of Russia's strategic target, Mariupol, on the horizon? They don't have food, they don't have water, they're completely cut off from the rest of Ukraine. Is Mariupol about to fall to Russia?
The besieged city of Mariupol, facing the worst of Russian onslaught. Pounded, pulverized and flattened. Paying with piles of bodies, including those of children, even toddlers. Strategically located in the middle of Putin's advancing army, next on Kremlin's radar to gain full control to the Sea of Azov. Fall of Mariupol will also help Putin extend dominance from already captured Crimea. Now, ominous signs show that the city may have been completely overrun by Russian troops. Satellite images show Russian military and tank columns forcing their way into heart of Mariupol. Russian military vehicles are also seen on the streets. Russian forces mounting final push to capture the city of Mariupol next. Russia has on multiple occasions warned Ukraine to surrender Mariupol, blaming Kyiv for the unparalleled humanitarian crisis unfolding in the port city. Ukraine has defiantly rejected the surrender diktat and blamed Russian war crimes.
Once ordinary Ukrainians and now fighters, men and women who stand up for our state, everywhere in the south, in the east, in the north, in the west and abroad. Stand up so that the enemy does not believe that this is a reality. But we will make them believe and make them remember that they are not welcome and they never will be.
Just 50 kilometers from Russian border, will Mariupol be next in line to fall to Russian onslaught? With Rajesh Pawar in the Ukraine war zone, Bureau Report, India Today.
You've just seen that report about Mariupol. Let me tell you also about the port city of Kherson. This is the southern port city, a commercial hub of Ukraine. It's on the Black Sea coast. Very, very, strategically and commercially important. Fierce fighting has been taking place even in this city. Remember, this is a city that was rumored to have fallen to Russian forces. They do, in effect, actually control what's happening there. But there are image after image coming out from the city of Kherson of the civilian resistance to what's happening in that city. Russia is in control, but the people of Kherson are fighting back.
Four devastating weeks of Russia's relentless air attacks. Ukraine bleeding. Destruction and devastation in besieged southern city of Kherson. Residential buildings, once bustling with lives, lying in ruins. Bruised and battered with relentless Russian attacks, civilians in Kherson are continuing to fight back. Showing unprecedented resilience, civilians in Kherson hit streets, protesting against the invaders. Only to be fired at with automatic weapons by invading enemy troops. Gunfire renting the air and smoke filling the scene, as civilian protesters ran for cover to escape volleys of gunfire. Images showed explosions triggered possibly by stun grenades.
It is reported that protesters were protesting today against the Russian occupation in the Independence Square of Kherson city. when they were protesting, when the peaceful march was being taken out in the Freedom Square in Kherson city, it is reported that Russian troops have fired on these protesters, peaceful protesters, and have used stun grenades to disperse them. A lot of people have been injured, and there are reports that people might have even died, though none of these figures have been confirmed or verified by any of the authorities so far.
To Kherson, where we saw slaves shooting at free people, slaves of propaganda that replaces their consciousness. 40 million Ukrainians of our state, millions and millions of Ukrainians in the world, we have all seen you stand. We have seen who you are.
Protesting Kherson residents had managed to force Russian tanks to go back earlier. The Russian army had removed the Ukrainian flag from the city administration building days ago, amid heavy resistance from the citizens. The city of Kherson, a regional capital of about 2.5 lakh, was the first big urban center to fall into the hands of Russian troops after they invaded Ukraine on February 24th. But pockets of resistance still continue against the occupation forces. With Rajesh Pawar in Ukraine war zone, Bureau Report, India Today.
We've shown you Mariupol, we've shown you Kherson. In a moment, we'll also show you Kharkiv. But the map of Ukraine has been changing literally every single day for the last 27 days that this invasion has been on. This is the latest map that we've put together here on India Today to show you what the Russians currently control, which is painted in pink there. The blue arrows show you the direction in which the Russian army is actually advancing. For instance, from Kherson, from the Mariupol area, that's very close to the Russian border. That's where the forces are entering from. They've taken control of much of the eastern region. If you look at the place in the northern part of Ukraine, which is very close to the Russian border. There you've got the cities of Sumy and Kharkiv, which have been some of the most attacked places. You also have Chernihiv, which is northeast from Kiev, which is also one of the most attacked places. The Russians are in control of large swaths of territory there, and you can see where Kiev is located in relation to where all the control from the Russians is. So the Russian footprint, the Russian controlled footprint of Ukraine has been expanding quite steadily. If you look at what's happening in Kiev as well, there is a three-directioned encirclement of the actual city. Kiev is right there in that corner there. If you can look at, we've zoomed in on Kiev there. That shows you how things are as far as the capital city, Kiev, is concerned. From three different directions, you've got the Russians who've taken over territory there, but they've not actually entered the city itself. So the map of Ukraine, this is what it currently looks like. It looks like most of it is still under Ukrainian control. But remember, with the military diverted to defend against all of these areas in the east and the north, you've got a situation where this is a country that's basically under siege by the Russians. We've shown you Kharkiv, we've shown you Kherson, and we've shown you Mariupol. Now the city of Kharkiv, which is in the northern part of Ukraine, very close to the Russian border, second largest city of Ukraine, very close to the Russian border, just 40 kilometers away. It's the city where an Indian student lost his life a few weeks ago. This is what's happening in the city of Kharkiv. Ruins and devastation practically everywhere. And let's get you a voice from the ground in Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. Seri Mirankov has been reporting for India Today. Seri, good to see you. I hope you're safe. We hear that, just a short while ago, there have been at least 3 air raid sirens in the Ukrainian capital. There were some explosions also heard. What can you tell us about what has happened in Kyiv today?
Hello, India studio. Yes, there is some several air attacks in Kyiv. The sirens are still working right now. Due to not confirmed information, like it was our air defense at work, they strike the rocket and it grounded the Dnieper River. So for sure we'll have more evidence of this attack. Due to our information to this day, there are no victims till this moment. from official sources.
Serhiy, what's happening in Mariupol and Kherson? We understand that the amount of violence has actually increased in both these cities.
First of all, my heart right now is with Kherson, with the people who are right now standing for their rights, showing and expressing that they are Ukrainians. There's no need to be saved by Russians, and despite the attacks by guns, by bombs with gas, people stay together, they come back to the squares, and they're protesting against the Russians. Due to the situation in the Mariupol city, unfortunately, it's genocide of Ukrainian people, because the bombs are shelling from time to time. The same going on in Kharkiv. There was a several attack on the Zhytomyr region, Sumy, Nikolaev. So that's what's going on right now.
Serhiy, thank you very much. Stay safe. We'll keep connecting with you. Now I wanted to tell you about how Cold War 2.0 has in effect actually begun between Russia and Ukraine, and it has spread to pretty much every part of the world, because President Biden is arriving in Poland in just a couple of days from now. He's going to try and do something that his Vice President Kamala Harris perhaps failed to do when she was in Poland last week. But what's going to happen? Because Ukraine already feels betrayed by the West, betrayed by NATO specifically, and betrayed by the countries that surround it. So what is President Biden going to achieve, especially when he goes head-to-head against Putin? Remember, this will be the first time since this entire crisis began that Biden and Putin will be on the same landmass. What's going to happen? Will there be clarity? Will Biden provide some next steps to the world? Take a look. He's about to mark a month of his invasion of Ukraine. He's about to mark a month of rapid-fire sanctions against Russia. And he's about to mark a month of warning the international community about World War III. In just hours from now, these three leaders will be on the same landmass. After his vice president failed to cut any ice in Poland last week, US President Biden will be in Ukraine's neighboring country this week. The visit comes amidst weeks of suspense over whether Ukraine's NATO neighbors will help stop Putin's war machine.
Oh, I think he is a war criminal. Will you be meeting with him?
Now, in the Ukrainian land, our soldiers and officers are fighting for Russia, for a peaceful life, for the people of Donbass, to denazify and demilitarize Ukraine so that no anti-Russia that has been created by the West next to our borders didn't threaten us. With nuclear weapons as well, as it was happening recently, our people is proud of our...
Зробити Україну, щоб стати членом НАТО, бути в безпеці, отримати гарантії безпеки. Ми чули відповідь, рішення такого на столі поки що немає. І найближчим часом не буде. Як і крісла для нас за цим столом.
Between the belligerence of Putin and the self-righteous counterstrikes by Biden, Europe is taking on a terrifying post-war hue. Devastation in big cities, talk of battle in the air, nuclear forces on operational alert, night skies lit up by explosions, weapons by the ton flowing across international borders, and the hustle and bustle of superpower leaders with no real plan on stopping the actual violence. Can Biden provide clarity on what happens next? With Gaurav Sawant in Poland and Geeta Mohan in Moscow, Bureau Report, India Today. Now, there's been a lot of give and take, a lot of tutu-meme between Putin and Biden, except that this isn't just any old tutu-meme. This is actually stuff that affects the entire world, which is why you've got these leaders talking about World War III as well. Let's take a look at what they've been saying about each other. Putin has basically said any interference by the West, by NATO, can have the greatest consequences. He's been saying that. But Biden has been responding by saying that Putin is a war criminal. He's said that multiple times. It's been echoed by others. Putin says that Ukraine is making biological weapons with United States support. They've put out information to suggest there are laboratories doing this as well. But Biden has basically responded by saying Putin is considering itself using bio and chemical weapons and is creating some kind of bahana by saying that these are US weapons. Now, Putin says the entire planet is now paying for the West's ambitions. Remember, this entire narrative that the West's ambitions, historical ambitions, have been exposed and now the world is paying for them via Ukraine is something that Putin has been alleging from the beginning. Putin's back is against the wall, says Biden. Even though nothing very much has been done to dissuade Putin apart from those sanctions, militarily nothing has changed, but he says his back is against the wall. Putin says the West is acting like a bunch of bandits. Why are they coming here interfering with their own sense of self-righteousness when they know nothing about what's actually going on? And Biden responds, cyber attacks are part of the Russian playbook. Remember that these two leaders will be on the same landmass come Friday because Biden is going to be arriving in Poland, which has a big border with Ukraine, come Friday. Will he be able to achieve anything? We don't know, but this is what the conversation, the crossfire between these two superpower leaders of a new Cold War actually looks like right now. Now, like with all modern conflicts that we've seen in the last few years, maybe in the last decade itself, there are two wars being fought simultaneously between Ukraine and Russia. One is, of course, on the battlefield. You can see the horrifying images that have been flowing in over the last 27 days. And the other is, of course, information warfare, with so much of it being fought on social media. Ukraine's president daily online addresses from the streets of Kyiv have made him a war icon, not just to his people, but also on Instagram all around the world. Civilians too have been posting videos of Russian bombings on residential buildings. Our next report tells you how Ukraine has tried and in many perceptions dominated the information war.
The Russia-Ukraine war is about to enter the fifth week. Moscow continues to rain missiles on key Ukrainian cities. But the war-ravaged Kyiv is still holding fort. While a war is being fought on the ground with guns and tanks, another is being fought online, the social media war. As the Ukrainian president remains bunkered down in Kyiv amid fears of assassination attempts, Zelensky's daily video addresses, usually published with English subtitles, have made him a war icon. Zelensky owes some of his success to Tesla's CEO, who agreed to the president's request to activate Starlink satellite internet in the war-torn country. Elon Musk activated satellite broadband services across Ukraine, allowing civilians an easy access to the internet. When it comes to taking on Russia, all hands are on the deck. Civilians have also joined the social media war, sharing success of their forces and exposing Russian attacks on schools and bomb shelters. Kyiv's mayor and former boxing champion Vitaly Klitschko, for instance, shared evidence shattering Russian claims of not attacking residential buildings. Klitschko did that by visiting Russian targets and giving first-hand info.
Ту пропаганду, що йдеться війна, звільнення України проти військових, бомбять, як і в Харкові, як і в Маріуполі, як і в Чернігові, житлові райони. І зараз мета агресора, мета орків – наше рідне місто, місто Київ.
Thanks to its relentless digital drive, Kyiv is getting international support. Football legend David Beckham has handed over his Instagram account to a Ukrainian doctor working in Kharkiv. Beckham has over 70 million followers on the photo-sharing app.
Hi everyone, so I'm handing over my social media to Irina, the head of the Regional Perinatal Center in Kharkiv, Ukraine. There, she is working with pregnant mothers to help them give birth safely.
Привет, друзья! Меня зовут Ирина. Я сегодня оккупировала инстаграм-страницу Дэвида Бекхэма. В мирное время я руководитель Харьковского регионального перинатального центра и детский анестезиолог.
Actors Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher have raised over $30 million for Ukrainian refugees fleeing the country. Kunis, who was born in Ukraine, and Qatar have expressed gratitude for the outpouring of support.
We hit our goal.
Over $30 million raised.
Over 65,000 of you donated. We are overwhelmed with gratitude for the support. And while this is far from a solve of the problem, our collective effort will provide a softer landing for so many people as they forge ahead into their future of uncertainty.
In the ever-intensifying information war, Ukraine has dominated the social media right from the first day of Russian invasion. Bureau Report, India Today.
And speaking of how social media has become that very, very vibrant battlefield between Russia and Ukraine, you're probably wondering who's leading the social media war for the Russian president. If we're talking about Ukraine dominating the social media space, who's running the show on the Russian side, and especially for President Putin? Our next report answers that question. It tells you about the 4 Russian women who are trying to spin the narrative of war on Moscow's behalf. Watch this very interesting report.
The war in Ukraine is not being fought on the borders only. There is another war raging in the info space. While Ukraine has been successful in seeking and getting global sympathy, Russia's focus is on garnering domestic support for the war. Over 59% Russians support the invasion of Ukraine, according to surveys by various agencies in Russia. Proof that Vladimir Putin is winning the info war in his country. Russia's propaganda machinery is led by 4 women. Leading the charge is Maria Zakharova, the Director Information and Press Department at the Russian Foreign Ministry. Maria has helped sell the idea at home that the West has launched an information war against Russia. She has also accused the West of information terrorism. Next on the list of propaganda crusaders is Editor-in-Chief of Russia Today, Margarita Simonyan. Margarita is sanctioned by the European Union for promoting a positive attitude to the annexation of Crimea and the actions of Ukrainian separatists. Another key Russian figure in the info war is Maria Butina. In 2018, Butina was accused in the US of being a Russian spy. She was sentenced to 18 months in prison. 9 months later, she was extradited to Russia. Butina was elected as a member of the Duma, the lower house of Russia's Federal Assembly. The last on the list is Valentina Matvienko, a Russian senator and the Speaker of the Upper House. Born in western Ukraine, Matvienko has justified Russia's actions, saying that the invasion is the only way to end this brotherly war. While the West has imposed various sanctions to curb the spread of Russian propaganda, but the truth is, Russia doesn't have to sell the war globally to keep it going. It just has to sell it to its citizens. Right now, Russians seems to be buying Vladimir Putin's war. Bureau Report, India Today.